After 58-year-old Bernice Worden went missing, a trail of blood led police directly to a woodshed connected to Ed Gein's farmhouse. It was pitch black inside, and while one of the officers was shining around his flashlight, he bumped into something. He turned to discover Mrs. Worden's body strung upside down on a block and tackle with a metal rod shoved between her ankle joints. Her torso had been dressed out, meaning it had been slit open down the middle and all of her organs were removed. Her head was missing. The sheriff went outside and vomited. And this was only the tip of the iceberg of what they were to discover inside the pitch-black farmhouse, which had no electricity in the dead of night. With their flashlights, police entered the kitchen to find soup bowls made from human skulls, mason jars and buckets filled with human sludge and organs. On a saucepan on the stove was Bernice Worden's heart. In the living room, 4 faces of women hung across the walls like artwork. 5 human heads sat displayed on shelves. Ed Gein had carefully cut the faces off of the decapitated heads and kept them intact so he could wear them. One of the officers later remarked, "Some of the face masks had lipstick on them and looked perfectly natural. If you knew these women in life, you'd be able to recognize them." Human heads, limbs, noses, and sets of lips were scattered all throughout the house. Police found a box full of female genitalia, along with a belt made of female nipples. 4 chairs and several lampshades were made from human skin. 1 chair was assembled with human arm bones. They found a drum made from stretched human skin, a skin purse with a handle, and a human skin wastebasket. Skulls were fastened to the post of Ed Gein's bed. In a paper bag, an officer pulled out what he assumed to be a wig, which later turned out to be Mary Hogan's face, Gein's first alleged victim. Gein had fashioned himself clothing from the skins of the corpses, a pair of leggings made from the legs of his victims, and a woman's torso with breasts, which would later become known as his mammary vest. In the evenings, Gein would allegedly slip on the entire skin outfit and one of the death masks and walk around his house, imitating his mother's gesture and voice as if she were still alive. He said he was trying to build a suit made of women in order to transform himself into his mother. Gein admitted to the murders of Mary Hogan and Bernice Worden, but stated most of his raw materials were gathered by robbing local graves. The first body that he had dug up was that of his dead mother, Augusta. He took her head back to his house. He then used the obituaries to identify recently deceased women who looked like his mother, and he would go and dig up their bodies. He claimed that seeing the bodies led to sexual gratification, but he did not actually have sex with them because they smelled too badly. Ed Gein was famously quoted saying, "When I see a pretty girl walking down the street, I think 2 things. One part wants to be real nice and sweet, and the other part wonders what her head would look like on a stick." Check out part 2 to hear what led to this psychological catastrophe.